Welcome to the motherfucking RubyCloud podcast. I gotta stop trying to say RubyCloud radio podcast because it's not actually the RubyCloud radio. No, it's just the RubyCloud podcast.
Okay.
I want them to be separate.
See, because I said that earlier.
Yep. Well, probably because that's what I was calling it on accident.
Yeah.
So we are here at the Harvey house with Nicky NoLove, and I'm gonna let him speak a little bit about himself again, so I don't make these things feel like a little bit of an interrogation. He can tell you a little bit about himself, shoot out anything that he's recently done if he would like to. If not, he can just introduce himself and we can get moving along.
Like he said, I'm Nicky NoLove. I'm from Fayetteville, North Carolina. I started off as a ghostwriter, and people would say that the words that I wrote down impacted them in a way. So I definitely started making music of my own roughly, I think it was like 2020. Just been rocking out ever since.
Heck yeah, 2020. Wait, so you're like fairly new to music then?
Yeah, I would say so. When it comes to making music for myself, yeah.
Oh, okay. Right, yeah, obviously, because you said you were ghostwriting.
Correct.
What kind of got you into that? Was it just poetry in general?
Well, I wrote poetry all through like middle school and high school. And then it became like just my surroundings, people I was around recording music and not necessarily having the inspiration for themselves.
Give me just a moment. I'm trying to make sure that our audio is actually.
I didn't know we
recording.
really started.
Yeah, no, we're kind of starting, but for some reason this doesn't auto scroll, so I can't actually tell if it's continuing to record. It totally was. It was recording. Hello.
Check.
All right. I'm assuming that that's going to clip them into different audio files now. Yeah, my bad about that. I need to figure out.
Is that my file right there?
So this is actually the RubyCloud podcast file.
Oh, okay.
For the most part. So I want to keep.
I'm like, research.
So yeah, I try to come prepared. Sorry, again, I got pretty distracted there. Now I feel like a bit of a dick. You were ghostwriting for particular artists. Was it like you did poetry and then you showed it to somebody that was an artist and they were like, oh, hey, can I use this?
More or less. I was writing poetry that could be determined as music.
Okay.
Or perceived that way, you know what I'm saying? Uh-huh. And I would go to the studio with a lot of people who were recording music, and like I said, they lacked the inspiration for themselves.
Okay.
So they would look at me like, do you have anything that would go right here?
The idea guy.
And I would just end up either writing the whole hook or finishing a verse for somebody, and ultimately turned into me writing whole songs for people.
Oh, okay. So it just kind of like fell into place almost then.
Correct. Yeah. I won't say any names, but they were signed artists. They weren't just like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They weren't just like.
You were the idea guy, the fresh idea guy for somebody who's just in the studio because they kind of have to be, probably.
Right. They had been doing it for 10 plus years and wring it dry. You know?
It's a job for them, so they got to keep producing that music.
Correct.
Because otherwise, then they're not going to keep that flow from. I guess if they're a signed artist, it depends on how their deal works.
Right. Everything is different under pressure. You know what I'm saying? When people are flowing from just personal inspiration, then it can become art. But when it becomes a job and there's like deadlines and all this added pressure to it, it becomes stressful. I could see it from a lot of different angles.
Yeah, no, that's a perspective that a lot of artists seem to have, and it seems to fall in line with something that Sharp was really kind of talking about in the previous podcast, which is I didn't sign up to be all these fucking things. I just signed up. Yeah. I want to hop in a studio.
Shout out Sharpie J.
Yeah, shout out Sharpie J. I just want to hop in a studio with a guy like Nick, record some fucking dope ass song and release it.
Yep.
And move on.
Yep.
You know, I didn't sign up to be a content creator, which is a weird thing these days because the content creation is actually the marketing. And Sharp mentioned how like, well, you know, back in the day you found out about artists because of magazines and this, that, and the other thing.
Right.
You still find out about them this way. Just a lot of those magazines all lost their credibility.
And there was a lot more footwork to the old school music. Like you'd have to be walking into offices, dropping off demos, or out in the streets hustling your CDs to get any kind of local traction. But on an industry level, you'd have to walk into office buildings and drop off demos, or radio stations to the host and drop off demos. Otherwise, there was no in between. I feel like it's easier now with the internet because you put a little bit of money behind your own stuff and thousands of people can see it.
Yeah, it's definitely a leg up slash difference because like kind of how you guys do a mixture of the old school way, which is just promoting your stuff locally through doing shows at like a place like Harvey House, or even through like Pottopia and even pay to play shows. Because I look at it this way: if I don't have the ability to play somewhere and I can pay, and they already have people that show up that don't know who the hell I am, you're paying for potential fans. It's your fault if you're not networking with the people out in the audience there. And you pay $100 to do a show, and then leave with 0 fans.
And everything is an opportunity as well.
100%.
You can be at an event and there could be 10 to 12 people, or even 5 or 6 in an audience, and one of those people can be someone very important. And if you shut down performing because you don't think there's enough of an audience, you'd close the door on yourself. Really, you missed out on an opportunity.
Yeah, it's pretty much bring your A game.
Absolutely. Whether it's 6 or 600 or 6,000, you gotta show them who you are.
Yeah, that's really funny because one of NF's music videos, When I Grow Up, he does a clip where he's performing in a place very similar to this, and there's like one guy in the crowd, and that same actor that plays that one guy is in a bunch of his other music videos. Yeah, and he's just sitting there sipping the drink. Gotcha. And in that one, he's real hype on the stage, and it's just one guy, and then it cuts to all of a sudden he's in a fucking venue and there's like thousands of
stadium or something.
It's fucking insane. So
and that's the mentality you have to have. Like everyone can be the one person to make or break what you're trying to do. Because as an independent artist, and if you're not trying to sign to a big label, you need somebody behind you, backing you, greasing the wheel a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if not, it's all out of your pocket, and it's going to take a lot longer to get in front of people's faces.
Yeah, that's interesting you bring that up because I was going to stray off subject here. So it's interesting that you kind of bring that up. So we can just lead into something that I did want to talk to you personally about.
Yeah.
So you say that if you're just doing it yourself and you don't have somebody else extra to grease your wheel or whatever, so that leads into investment. Right?
Absolutely.
So if you don't have somebody willing to invest in you, or you're not willing to invest in yourself to some degree through other means, then you kind of just hold yourself back almost a little bit. Kind of like how you're saying back in the day, if you're not handing out your fucking demos, you're not getting nowhere. Technically, that is still true today, except for you would reach out to A&Rs and you'd send them to your Spotify link, and you'd send them all of these other things. So that stuff still exists. It's just you have to find the A&Rs to submit to.
And that's the thing too. A lot of stuff as an independent artist is pay to play. Instead of getting paid, you're paying to be involved. So whether it's radio stations or podcasts or
which is illegal.
Right.
You're not allowed to pay for spins.
Really?
That's actually illegal.
No, I'm talking about appearances.
Oh yeah,
appearance-wise.
I don't even think you're supposed to pay
get on
for interviews. This is another reason why record labels exist, because the artist can't get in trouble if the record label's the one paying for it.
Yeah.
And then the record label makes so much fucking money, they can pay $1 million to squash a lawsuit.
Right.
After they just paid $1 million to earn $2 million on radio plays.
Right.
Yeah, that's why they banned it a long time ago. You're not supposed to pay to be involved with radio stations.
And that's the thing too, with a lot of like local artists who are trying to venture out into different cities and stuff. That's really the only avenue you can take, is finding your way into a radio station or something like that to broaden your audience a little bit. But if you can't necessarily pay for spins, but pay to appear and kind of like tell everyone who you are.
That's where they get you.
Yeah.
They say that you're not paying for spins, you're just paying for an appearance or whatever. But
and then they play your music while they're there.
Yeah, well, if they're on a record label and you're regularly in rotation and I'm paying you $1 million a year to interview my artists, well, you're gonna make me happy.
Yeah.
Because I'm paying you $1 million a year to interview my artists.
I appreciate that. We had a stray come in.
Oh, nice.
I appreciate that. But yeah,
We got security up in this mug, man.
yeah, shit is locked
And the
down for sure.
cameraman's kicking shit. No, I'm just...
But
So, we kind of went a little off
yeah,
what I was
it's
going there.
investing.
So the investing thing, I took a step back from music for a while myself to learn a lot about the things that I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to do a lot of those things. One of the main things that I don't want to do is something that he's already good at, and if I can somehow figure out how to pay him to free up time for him, he can be the audio engineer for everybody.
Oh man.
You know what I mean? So there are ways for all of us to invest in some way, shape, or form together. Like you said, we could all keep paying $100 per show separately.
Yep.
Or what we could do is ultimately we could all invest together into one avenue through things like investor parties. Have you ever heard of an investor party?
I have not.
So an investor party is something that you would send out invitations to. And in my particular case, my first investor party, I want to kind of team up with Harvey House because I'd like to host the investor party here.
Yeah.
There's only 10 tickets.
That's doable.
The 10 tickets literally is a $100 bill. That's
Okay.
how you get a ticket.
Right.
You take a picture of a $100 bill, you send it to me, you're locked in. If you show up without that $100 bill, you'll be turned away and you won't be allowed.
Right.
Part of the money itself will go to pay for dinner because you showed up.
Yep.
And the rest is honestly just a proof of concept. You all showed up to a dinner, you got a free dinner, sort of. Technically, you paid for it.
Right, but it's a part of the
rest of the money
overall
there.
expense.
Now look at this. Let's say we spend $250 on dinner that night for all 10 of us. We don't go gung ho. We just buy pizza.
Right.
Right. Harvey House is going to get paid.
Yep.
Because they could probably make the pizza for us. Give us maybe a nice discount because we're spending $250 fucking bucks that night. Then we have $750 of play money. We could the next show that now RubyCloud Entertainment can pay 7 artists to show up and perform for a RubyCloud Entertainment show.
Yeah.
With $750. So $125 per artist. Maybe we'll even be nice and we'll say, if you can bring 15 people, we'll call you the headliner.
Yeah.
And you get paid a little bit more money, but you also need to sell tickets.
Right.
Not everybody has to sell tickets to get paid, but if you want to be the headliner for the show, you need to sell at least 15 tickets. You get paid more, but you don't get to keep the ticket sale money.
Right.
So this is everything we just branched out there. What these are called is business strategies.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're aware of them because you do merchandise.
Yep.
If you've created merchandise, you've already thought about the prospect of spend $30+ on a couple of t-shirts, try and create a quality t-shirt for as cheap as possible, and then turn around and sell each of those t-shirts for $30.
Yeah.
And you're doubling your money. Yeah, you had to put in some effort and some time and whatnot, but that's the investment there to get the money back.
I think definitely that's the main thing. Invest in yourself. Like you said, I have the merchandise. I partnered up with a cannabis company called Exotics out of Detroit. It's important to invest in yourself because no one else will until they see you're putting this work in. I'm gonna throw an analogy at you that my dad taught me when I was a kid. If you're on the side of the road and your car's broke down and you're just sitting in it waiting for somebody to stop and help, it's not gonna come. But if they see you pushing it, someone's gonna hop out and help you start pushing it. So you got to put the work in first so that people understand that they're not wasting their energy or effort in you.
Yeah, no, I get it. And this is the reason for the investor party. So the investor dinner, the first 10. This is actually to try to find the first board members for RubyCloud Entertainment.
Right.
Because I want to have 10 investors who are willing to spend $100 a month on RubyCloud Entertainment. I will provide any of my skills and services, and then also those investors will be a part of everything that's going on.
Why not?
Paying shows.
Why not drop the number double? Like, why not drop the price, double the number of people?
Because when somebody spends $100, they're invested.
Correct.
I could throw $50 left and right. Here's a good way of looking at it, right? So $100 a month. would you pay me $50 to come film a show for you?
Yes.
Right. So if I film 2 shows for you each month, you're willing to invest $100 a month in me.
Yep.
So why not just give me the $100 up front, and then I'll show up and film 2 shows for you, and you could potentially get that money back from me because RubyCloud Entertainment is throwing a show.
Right.
This isn't. I get how it sounds. It sounds like I'm going around asking people for their money.
Not even. I'm saying for like outside parties, so like supporters, not artists, not people who are in the entertainment business at all. So strictly supporters and investors. If they see $100 a month and they're not necessarily getting filmed, they're getting a product out and they're supporting the product and investing in the product. The lower the number is more enticing.
So
because it's more, since it's reoccurring, it will be easier for them to just, like
there
you
are
said,
definitely investment tiers.
right?
The $100 for the first investor party
Right. Yep.
is for the initial 10 people.
Yep.
If you're putting forth $100 a month into whatever I have going on, you're going to be helping me with whatever projects you got going on because you want me to help you with those projects.
Right. Can I throw a perspective at you?
Yeah.
So, you are in the entertainment industry. You see streamers, right? How they have subscribers and stuff like that, and people can gift subscribers. The same way with your investment plan. If investor sees, and they're a serious investor, and they see it's only $50, they can gift investment blocks to their people if they see that it's just a little more affordable.
Yeah, no, actually, I really like that you brought that up because look at it this way, right?
Yeah.
Say you like my idea.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. If you can't make $100 a month off of your fans,
Right.
you aren't the kind of person I want on my board members.
Absolutely.
You see what I mean? So it's more of a, you need to prove yourself for me. I'm willing to work with everybody almost for free.
Let me reiterate. I'm still talking about outside of the entertainment. So they don't have fans. They don't have, they're strictly supporters and investors. They don't have fans. Their only kickback off of this is seeing us grow.
Right. So those, for again, tiers to support.
Absolutely.
So for example, there would be a tier down.
Okay.
$100 a month is an artist tier for what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
You see what I mean?
Yep.
So if a good way of looking at it this way is you may not want to spend the $10 or the $100.
Right.
But if you can find 10 people that are willing to do exactly what you said, invest in you for a much smaller fee for $10 a month, you now have $100. Do you have $100,000 in a month?
Off of
anything ever? Have you ever had $100,000 a month?
No.
Right, but you have $100 a month.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. There are 4 artists right here who may not have $400 right now to invest in any one thing, but I guarantee each of us could get $100 in the next week or so.
Right.
So now, technically, between the 4 of us, we could have a $400 plus music video by the end of the month if we pooled our money together.
Yeah.
And it may be Nicky NoLove's video because I like your new song.
Which
Yellow
one?
Roses.
Okay, thank you.
You see
thank
what I mean?
you.
So I get how this sounds in a certain way. It does kind of sound like almost like
As in no way or in no way.
Well, so if you think that investing is a pyramid scheme, I would argue that you don't know a lot about business in itself, and that's not like a dig. It's more of a you don't understand investment and investment capital. Most people do not. They're not the person that started their business unless they somehow started another business to then go branch off and have venture capital to go start another business. Usually what happens if you have a business idea, right, you hold investor meetings or you go to investor meetings and you pitch your idea.
Right.
So the idea behind RubyCloud Entertainment is to create an independent media agency for people to potentially buy into services that would normally be out of their cost range. So there are companies that do pretty much what I'm trying to build, but they charge $50,000 a month for one client.
Absolutely.
So this would be scalable over time. And yes, I understand that paying money to be a part of something makes it seem like a pyramid scheme.
I think it was just the tier system. But let me reiterate. I was just throwing a perspective. Yeah, I see this as a viable business option. This is a it's a great idea. I think it will work out. I was just like I said, throwing a perspective at you. And I didn't know there was a tier system.
No, there's a website or a thing called Grouped. It works an awful lot like Patreon. Have you ever heard of Patreon?
Yes, I have.
So this one, Grouped, is more specifically for artists, though.
Right, okay.
And you can actually create tier systems and set it up pretty much the same way Patreon does. So you can offer perks depending on the tier system.
Right.
So one of the things that I actually want to do for RubyCloud Entertainment fans, if they do sign up for a tier for like $9 a month. So $9 a month is actually equivalent to 35 streams a day from one person on Spotify.
Okay.
If you actually add it up, it would equate to about $9 a month. Well, maybe somebody doesn't have $9 a month and they're just willing to stream your song 35 times a day.
Yeah.
That's kind of more to ask than $9 a month. So most people might just be willing to give you $9 a month because they don't want to, but they like you enough to stream. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
so
to hit that number specifically is like...
So your first 1,000 fans, if they're willing to actually stream your song 35 times a day, that would scale up. Yeah, so to 35,000 streams a day. 35,000 streams a day is roughly about 1 million per month, which is on average.
And how many replays until it becomes a bot view? You know what I mean? Because
it depends on the organicness of the streams. This is another reason why I don't like people consistently replaying RubyCloud Radio over and over and over. Throw it on for a few hours, shut it off, come back later.
What if there's like a skip, someone skipping songs? It looks more organic than just playing it in a row.
Yep. So ultimately, it depends because I don't think a lot of things actually care. Mm-hmm. Now, if it looks like you have 1,000 phones on one internet connection, all doing it at the same time, that will absolutely flag it.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a if you're a brand new artist and all of a sudden it looks like a very constricted area is all of a sudden streaming tons of your shit, that's going to flag your stuff and they're going to start removing your streams. They might not remove your account, but they will flag your streams.
I actually saw that recently with an artist. Overnight had like, I think 2,500 views and then dropped down to like, 700 on that one disc. It went from 2,500 views down to, it was 3.5? It was 3.5K and then it by midnight and then drop down to like 5 something or something.
Yeah, I wonder if it was something kind of similar to what I was saying. It wouldn't have necessarily been botted, but the way algorithms really work, because that's what I'm saying. So say for whatever reason say he promoted it locally on Facebook, so tons of people in a very small area did happen to see his post and all of a sudden go and stream his stuff, and he went from, like you said, getting 100 views a day to all of a sudden getting tons,
3,500 overnight. Almost,
right.
Yeah.
That may flag something. What'll end up happening is he should file like a support ticket with, like, is it YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would apply for a support
I think
ticket
a lot of
to
that
YouTube.
was real views.
Yep.
Because locally it had a lot of traction. A lot of people chimed in and kept playing it for people.
Yeah.
So I definitely think those views were real. They just got snatched.
Yeah, it's strange because especially on YouTube that will happen a lot because of the algorithm.
Well, and also with YouTube, if you have an account, you replaying a video doesn't count as another view.
That's not true.
No, I've seen it firsthand where
it depends on.
I wasn't getting no views off of it.
First of all, if you're watching it through your own account, it will even give you a view, and I proved that.
Really?
Yep. I proved that you can watch. It's weird.
Mythbuster.
Definitely don't do it with your own account.
No.
Because like you're saying, there's an algorithm really watching all of this stuff, and an algorithm is 10 times more shady than a human.
Yeah.
They're going to do things like that. Like a local artist all of a sudden blowing up is going to flag the algorithm potentially. It may get his stuff back.
Why instead of boost?
You'd
That's
think
weird.
that it would boost him.
Right. Like, okay, he's got traction.
Right. But again, like that's one of those things where YouTube just may...
well, YouTube wants you to pay for promotion. Not pay for views, but pay for them to put you on ads and put you on reels and just like...
Yeah,
hit the algorithm almost.
Which is not good, mainly because what happens is that puts you off to a lot of people these days.
Well, and not only that, it doesn't last. It's not residual.
Well, I mean, it really just depends. So like with TikTok, for example, if you immediately, like, say you just posted it and then you boost it. That's a
Right.
bad idea.
Yeah.
Because first of all, you didn't know if it was going to go viral
Right.
originally.
You don't know if it's good enough content
Yeah,
as
so
is.
Gary Vee talks about this extensively, where you need to watch your analytics to see which ones to shovel a little bit of money into.
That's facts.
So, like with TikTok, for example, say you hit that 500 stagnation, right? Which is notorious. You'll
Yeah.
get like 3 likes, it'll get up to 500 views, and then lose all traction. And then all of a sudden, you'll get one that gets 750 views.
Right.
That's when I would throw $10 at as quickly as possible to see, because what'll happen is you will residually get real accounts following you.
Yep.
And you may look at it as paying for these things, but if you keep that momentum going, and sure, like you said, you can end up in like this almost a gambling loop.
Right.
This is where your better mindset has to come in and know when to invest certain things.
And that's the thing. I've been trying to target the actual local audience.
Yep.
Before I boost anything, I'm telling them there's a reward at the end of the rainbow. Like, you have to put into the post locally. It's not gonna touch the national or global scale, but locally at least, I'm gonna get my 100 to 200 clicks because that's who I'm targeting right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I haven't paid to promote anything yet because I'm paying people locally to, come join in.
Right. So yeah, I was
Hold on.
I think I was talking with.
You guys are 2 minutes out from 30-minute mark.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead and just reset it.
Both of them are close to about 30 minutes.
Yeah, but just stop it and pause, restart it, because then when I'm relining them back up, it'll just make it a lot easier. And then I try to shut up.
Right.
You can see me over here trying to gauge when you're actually pausing and when you're formulating a thought, because you'll see me try to.
Yep.
And what it is it's to prevent me from. It's mainly just to prevent me from doing this. You know what I mean? Ending up in a scenario where it's just too long of a pause.
Got you.
Do you believe everyone has their strengths and weaknesses?
Absolutely. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses. Even people who you deem are like identical to you, you'll have different strengths and weaknesses, like with anything. You know what I'm saying?
So you're saying, do you see your weaknesses in some of the people that you admire?
Yeah. Or even in some of the people I dislike. You know what I'm saying? Or I would see good things in people I dislike or admire.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying?
Like learning from somebody that you admire's mistake.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then
That's deep.
And learning how to progress from someone may not have a formidable relationship with. You can have a disdain for someone and they could still teach you something positive.
Yeah, that's actually crazy that we went right into that, because we talked about that in the previous podcast, where
Really?
You can basically your enemy can be disappointed in you.
Oh yeah.
Was kind of the concept, and that will affect you more than like your mom being mad at you.
Well, where I'm from, there's the term a good op and bad op.
Mm-hmm.
If you have beef with someone, say like Drake and Kendrick,
Right.
that's only so popular because they're on the same level.
Right.
If I was to have an issue with Drake, that wouldn't go anywhere. They're like, who the hell is this guy? Where's his?
I would think that if you wanted to have an issue with Drake, the best way to do would be to impress him, let him steal your style,
Absolutely.
and then beef with him after. Oh shit.
We can run that back if you want.
Oh, to be honest, we still got this. That's another reason for like 2 cameras, and it's also another reason for like trying to have the audio
Right.
on a secondary device.
Too easy. I'm about to say I don't remember what the hell I said, but I'll be as close to.
I mean, I don't know what I did. To be honest, I don't even. Did you start the recording? I swear to God, you did, bro. I didn't actually. I turned the screen on so that you could. I know I started this one, but yeah, no, you're good. Check.
But yeah,
Check.
like I was saying, where I'm from, there's a term good op, bad op. If someone's not worthy of the confrontation or even the entertaining the beef,
Right.
then you just let it slide.
Right. So it's kind of like a chess mentality.
Absolutely.
You know, you'll play chess with somebody if they're going to learn something from you, but you won't play chess with somebody that you don't either want to destroy or teach.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like I know a few pool sharks and chess
Yeah.
masters,
Yeah.
and they won't play with anyone who's not at the same level because there's not an actual competitive edge.
Well, they'll probably play with them if it's a teaching scenario, not
And strictly
yeah.
and strictly then, but then it gets to the point where they have to dumb it down so bad it's not even fun.
I always look at, especially like with the way you were describing street optics, it seems like.
Yeah.
I describe all of that as chess
Yeah.
because chess is the one game that is fundamentally life and death and prison all in one game.
Right.
Mostly prison, technically. No pieces technically can't not come back except for the king. But
I've actually never played chess. Only in
well,
life.
that's kind of the concept.
Only in life.
If you checkmate the king, you took over the kingdom, pretty much, right? Or
Right.
you killed the king. All pieces can technically come back if you get a pawn all the way across the board. You play checkers, right?
Yeah, of course.
So imagine when you get king me on a checker and you can move backwards. On chess, if you get a pawn across the board, you get an officer piece back.
Okay.
So like a knight or a rook or something that has
Okay,
previously
actually,
been taken, it'll switch places with the pawn.
Right.
So
What I could never learn was how the pieces went all across the board
dude,
with chess. For real.
do you like Logic? Like not the rapper.
Right. Is this a
Logic,
game?
like thought processes.
Oh, for
so
sure.
Logic.
Yeah, absolutely.
It will teach you a crazy amount of logic and planning skills and strategy. I'm not the best, but I've been playing since I was like 5. Yeah, I'll definitely get down with some chess.
Off cam, you'll have to teach me.
Ooh, we could fucking do it on camera, bro.
Nah.
I like double dipping, bro. Like right now, we're having an amazing conversation that's super organic,
Yeah.
and we're getting content out of it.
But if
That's
I
double
pulled up
dipping.
if I
We're
pulled
ha-
up the chessboard and you whooped me on camera real quick, I wouldn't feel like I learned anything.
Oh, well, see,
I was just
I could
talking
even
shit.
play a trick. There's a super easy trick. It's where I say I'll play with 2 pieces and you can play with everything but 1 piece, and then I'll win instantly. It's because the piece that I get to take from you makes it to where your king and none of your pieces can move, and then all I have to do is move my queen into position and you lose.
Over chess master over here. He's talking about some. I'm
Well,
not
it's a
extremely
trick.
good.
So, that's a cheap trick, kind of like, oh, look at this coin behind your ear type shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just something to quick pull it over your
Yeah.
head.
So another good one is some guy tried to get me with a cheap trick on a forklift. He was like, "Can you pick this nickel up with a forklift?" And he sat it down on the ground, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it. Lift my forks up, right? Drive over the top of it. I tilted them forks all the way down as tight to the floor as they could get, and then I backed up really fast. What do you think happened?
It didn't pop up there.
It fucking did a backflip and landed on the fucking forks, bro.
No way.
Dead ass serious.
How do you learn a
It's
party trick like that?
Well, he would. I have no idea how he learned it, but he was trying to trick
Oh.
me and my skills on the forklift because I was talking shit. I was like,
And you just
nobody
figured
can
it out
fucking
on your
hold
own.
me.
You
I was
just
like,
figured it out?
I've been doing it for almost 10 years, and I drove farm equipment when I was younger, so.
Yeah, but it's
And
just
I love logic.
Right. You mapped out the whole situation.
Yeah, I was like, well, I can't. There's no way the fork is this fucking thick. The
But for
fucking
you-
coin is that. You're not scooping.
For you to just
So
first
what's the
try,
trick?
kickflip the coin is
Yeah.
fucking crazy to me.
What's
Actually,
the easiest way to get a coin in the air?
yeah,
Flick it. So honestly, my main thought was a basketball.
right,
You know, like if a basketball is flat on the ground, you can smack it and it'll start bouncing.
yeah.
That was kind of my thought process there. Like, how do I smack this coin?
If I can get it to catch on something,
the
it'll
pressure,
flip.
yeah, the pressure of the fork sliding across it, and because I'm backing up. the
No, I think that's
momentum-
I think that's a 1 in a million shot.
I bet I could do it again.
Really?
I bet I could do it again.
We'd have to see. That's like, well, how many likes we doing on this to see if we can?
Hey, Little does he know I actually watch forklift competitions, and that's why I know a lot of weird shit.
Professional,
They're
professional,
professional, and I think it's in Dutch. I think it's in some Dutch country. They do forklift.
Forklift shark.
Yeah.
forklift shark. He said, "You don't
Um,
want to gamble with the
Let's
forklift."
circle back. That was a great tangent. I like that. That was a good one. Do you believe it's possible to get rid of all of your own weaknesses?
I think it's possible to work at all of them. I think whatever is not your strong suit will remain not your strong suit, but it's always possible to get better at them. Whatever you're really good at naturally, that's your bread and butter. And whatever you haven't been great at, it's always possible to get better, but to balance out to where you have no weaknesses, I think you can be really great at everything, but one of those will still be less than the others. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. So yeah, so you're basically going with the if you're a jack of all trades, you're a master of none argument.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
Correct.
Um.
Or if you've
Well,
mastered
okay, I see
all.
what you're saying. If the thing isn't in your realm, so like for example, say you don't really give a shit about reading fast,
Right.
Because you listen to audiobooks.
Correct.
Obviously, that's not in your realm, so you're not going to be good at that thing. But it's not. It's also not in your realm, so it's technically not a weakness,
Correct.
right? Like say,
Or
do you run into doorways?
do I run into doorways?
Yeah, have you ever bumped into a
Oh, yeah,
doorway?
for sure.
Do you know why that happens?
I just blame it on my equilibrium.
It's you.
I'm
It's actually
Whoops.
it's a mindfulness thing. Now think about it. Have you ever walked almost completely like sleepwalked all the way to the bathroom and never bumped anything, but your eyes were pretty much closed?
Yeah.
So do you see? So why do you run into stuff when you're awake? But you can walk and I can prove this too. I walk all the way downstairs. I don't have a bathroom upstairs.
It's like a self-conscious way to check
So
your
you're
awareness.
mindlessly doing something because you've mapped it out previously. You've done it before.
Right.
But you can also, while you're awake, you can run into a doorway that you've walked through a million times.
I have no clue. It's your subconscious
I
checking
think,
your awareness, basically.
yeah.
Hey,
I think it's an awareness thing.
Focus up a little
Yeah.
bit, or
So
chill out.
I brought that up to kind of like go back to kind of like circle back into what you were saying with the master of none type argument. Yes, I agree with that if the thing isn't necessarily a weakness, right?
Right.
So, like for me, crime isn't a weakness of mine because I don't do it.
Right.
So I'd never get good at crime so it can't be a weakness if it's
Exactly.
not in my realm of capability.
Exactly.
So that's kind of my thought process with it. I'm mainly referring to so for you, for example,
Things that you're trying at.
Exactly. So
Okay.
say you're not good at something, you want to try doing it. Do you think that if you start off weak at something, you're always capable of mastering something?
Oh yeah, I feel like if you're determined and you put in the work,
Mm-hmm.
you can master something. But it's all about like personal drive. If you're not gonna put the work in, you know what I'm saying? I don't see you obtaining it. Everything is work based.
Right.
How willing are you to master this? You know what I'm saying? It's all it differs. You know what I mean? I personally, I think if things that I'm weak at, if I work at them, I can get them to the level that I'm comfortable with, but I could never get them to the equal level of things that I've mastered and continued building on that level of mastery. You know what I
So,
mean?
Is that? Have you ever heard of the 10,000 hours?
Yeah, absolutely.
So is that because you don't want to waste hours trying to master something else when you can continue to master and perfect the thing you've already worked on?
Well, like I said, for me personally, I would put in the time to learn that. I just don't think it would be equal to the thing that I've put in 40,000 hours. You know what I'm saying?
So for a random example, let's say I was capable of investing $75,000 into you.
Right.
Don't necessarily expect it back, but I need you to somehow, over the course of a year, try to make more money than that, so that way you can become self-sustained.
Right, right.
Right. So would that not having to, I guess, earn your own living technically and having that financial freedom to actually pursue everything, like you have
Right.
free reign. But obviously at the end of the year, if you can't sustain, it'd be really hard to continue an investment like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So do you think that you would be able to succeed at what you already have going on
Right.
if somebody was able to give you $75,000 for a year?
I think in my personal position,
Zero expectations
right.
of the money being paid.
The things that I lack on, I expect to be transactional. So the things I lack on personally are like financial freedoms. So if I can't pay to go to a show in Detroit or pay for a video shoot from a specific
RubyCloud
cameraman,
Entertainment.
you know what I'm saying? If I
He knows we'll do it probably for free.
see, sometimes you got to network, but if you're an up and comer and you don't have this is the thought process. And me just moving here, this is the level I'm building from. My weakness being the financial side. The only work I could put into it would be that finding a sponsor to throw that 75,000 my way, you know?
Right. So, I had a question and then I kind of lost it there. If what would be like if somebody did give you the 70? What would be your first 40-hour week look like?
I would shoot music videos for all the songs that I have released and pay for a cinematic videographer, you know, someone with not necessarily only the
He's saying RubyCloud Entertainment sucks. That's what he's doing. He's just trying to do it in a nice way. More skills than we got.
No. the funding could help us all. That's the point.
He's preaching what I'm preaching now.
That's the point. The funding could help us all. You know, what would be your weak side would be like equipment things like
with 70,
you don't got 3 drones in the sky and you don't have a camera truck. You know what I'm saying? Funding would help us all in that avenue. With the funding personally, I would pay for someone who could make me and my image and my brand look like it's already 5 stars. So it would have to come from someone.
So a full marketing team.
Right. It would have to come from somewhere that's already in the 5-star realm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're actually right up my alley for the moment. I'm capable of getting the 100K a month.
Right.
Is hiring a marketing firm to teach a group of people, preferably the board members are going to be the first employees because we're all investing a bit of money, probably more money than anybody who hops in after us.
And time comes with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Time comes with it.
So that idea there, and obviously we can double up and the money can kind of like trickle back down. Kind of like what I was saying just a minute ago with the economy thing. If you have $100,000 economy, right, and I pay you $200 to do a show for me,
right,
and then you take that $200 and you go buy a pair of fucking Nikes, you just ruined the economy.
Yeah. You just crushed the whole.
You should take that $200 and sort of either not. I'm not saying you necessarily have to reinvest it back into the person that paid you.
Right.
But look at it this way: you get paid $200 for a show, but now you need $200 worth of recording time.
Yep.
That money you earned $200 off of RubyCloud Entertainment for doing a show for us.
Yeah.
But you need studio time from Dreamy Vision Studios, so he's getting that money back.
Yep.
So you take $100 of the $200 that you earned, you pay him $100 for the studio time.
Right.
You still have $100, and he still has $100. Well, technically, you could pay that back, and that's your next month's subscription. And now any money that you earn off of RubyCloud Entertainment would now both be profit.
Yeah.
All because you did one show for RubyCloud Entertainment.
Well, and that's the thing too. From your side. If the platform grows, everyone benefits.
Right.
If no one can put in, then they're not seeking the growth for themselves. The
Right.
platform has to
100%.
be
Yeah.
the platform has to be something that is desired from even a fan perspective. Like, wow,
Yeah.
I wish I could have even been in the room for that. And then artists will see that after it's successful and want to jump on. But to grow something in the beginning, you have to see the vision.
So, yeah, let me pause you there. So the artist hopping on. This is actually a neat idea that you mentioned this, because this is something I talked extensively with Nick.
Right.
That just because us 10 board members have been invested into RubyCloud Entertainment for 3 years and they've been putting all our money in,
Right.
doesn't mean that the guy that just hopped in with $100 that has the best project for the month is getting left out.
Yeah. Yep.
It's up to that person to be pitching ideas to the higher ups in the dig, because obviously like say us four have other people that are more or less quote unquote under us as far as departments. Let's say you become the head of doing shows. You're the guy that's meant to organize it and find the artists to put there, and then you pitch the ideas.
That's what I do.
To the board. Right, exactly.
Right.
This is another reason why I want to bring you on board. It's something you already do.
Correct.
So again, these are things that you already do and you're willing to do. And if we're all willing to invest money together and figure out everybody's best asset, that guy's the studio time. I'm not fully sure of all of your talents, but I know you're a dope ass artist. So just being affiliated, you'll probably get paid features. You know what I mean? Any artist that's on board, if you're working with another artist on board with affiliate, we would expect that you're paying them and moving money around and bringing money into the community.
Right.
Yes, you are already doing that for $100 a month. The reason the $100 a month has to keep coming is exactly like you said. If people are taking money out of the cookie jar by RubyCloud Entertainment, investing that money back into the community, and they're constantly buying shoes and chains instead of buying merchandise to then sell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you make t-shirts too.
Yeah.
So that's another avenue in RubyCloud Entertainment that we would want to utilize you for. Someone who's affiliated with us. Hey, can you get us some t-shirts? Hey, Nicky, hook this guy up with some t-shirts. Here's $500 to do so. He needs to sell this much. And yes, because we footed the bill.
Yep. It has to circle
RubyCloud
back.
Entertainment needs to get a percentage.
Yep.
And then obviously you would be getting a commission because you would be the head of that project.
For sure.
Putting in a majority of that work.
Right. I'm trying to stay. I'm trying to stay in the range.
I talk with my hands, but
I'm trying to stay in range.
yeah. No, I like getting in depth with talking about the ideas behind the board members and whatnot, because the idea is to create an entire umbrella to where I'm not the guy controlling anything. Preferably, I would like to be number 11.
Right.
And then 10 other dudes. Well, it doesn't have to be dudes.
Right.
10 other people.
Right.
I say dudes overall. I'm not sexist. I like chicks. I like my lady. She's got a vagina. I think. No. So, yeah, actually, she would probably end up being a board member, to be honest, because I would trust her to make certain points.
Executive decisions.
Yeah, and then I conflict with her, but I like her ideas.
Absolutely, and
So
and she's
having her in the
fundamental.
10,
She's fundamental for shows.
She does RubyCloud photography. That's her. I deal with
Yeah.
videography. If you guys are looking into like, I know a lot of like Nick does his art himself using AI and whatnot.
Right.
That's a great tool. I don't know. It really just depends on how you look at it. Me, I don't like only using an immediately generated one. Now, like if you've made a bunch of different prompts to change it and kind of worked with it, I think it's cheating. I think it's in some weird way skeevy. I have done it, but I've also utilized certain ways of doing. Again, you use certain prompts and you go with the idea that you're going with.
Hey, listen. Hey, AI's cool. AI's cool. I use it to edit the pictures I take myself. So
it is a calculator.
Yeah.
If you're using it to fully create so look at it this way.
My images come from places.
Yeah, Sandra, my lady, she has an art degree.
Mm-hmm.
So she does utilize AI to generate concepts and ideas, and then she tweaks those. A lot of the stuff that's been posted by me on my cover art was all done by her.
Yep.
So
I'm gonna do a little plug real quick.
Yeah.
So for my cover art, I have physical copies for my person, not for sale or anything. Shout out to Peanut Gallery. She painted all of my covers to make them, you know, a little memorial piece for my art. So shout out to Peanut Gallery. I really appreciate that.
That was a great segue. So I'm gonna Sean Evans you real quick. The moment I actually seen you use it, I was like, this is obviously gonna be a neat story.
Yeah.
Because you used it as cover art as well as it's a photo on your Facebook. I didn't know that.
Yep.
I scrolled through your Facebook and that's how I realized that the All For My Brother cover art is
Yep.
just a photo off of your Facebook.
Yep. There's me and my brother right here. I can't tell you where we are in this picture, but yeah, we were always bouncing around from porch to porch, and that was before we jumped off it. Let me know if you get that reference.
If you want,
keep it?
yeah, that one's for you.
I'm
That's
frame
something
it.
I'm gonna do. Yeah, well, we
sign
can
it.
sign it. Yeah, both of us can sign it.
When you see this, JT, I'm gonna sign it and frame it for you.
Yeah, that's dope.
That's sick.
So, yeah, you don't remember anything that you were doing that day? It was a long time ago, obviously.
So it was probably one of my grandmother's residences. She had multiple, but that's probably what it was. Yep. Oh, my bad.
No, you're good, actually. If you want to lean forward,
Yep.
you're fine. Let's just scooch that so we can get it better.
But yeah, like I was saying, my grandma had multiple residences, so we were probably at one of them. And when I was real young, I have a song coming out called Smile, where I talk about my family always being together.
Right.
And like I said, when I was young, we were always together, either at my grandmother's house or our house. And yeah, that's probably what was going on there. Me and my brother just off to the side, chilling, watching everything.
Yeah, like I said, I was actually surprised that it was just a random face. I didn't expect to find it on your Facebook.
A little throwback.
Yeah,
A little
no, it was
throwback.
interesting. I started to scroll past it, and I'm like, no, I gotta ask him about it because like it kind of looks like I just took your cover art and brought it here. But
Right.
it's not.
No,
That's
that's
the photo from your Facebook.
Yep.
Yeah, I was surprised that it actually cut off everything
Yeah, I
else.
think
and only
what year was the post? Like 2017
I was
or
hoping
something
that
like
it
that.
was there, but it cut it off because
Yeah.
that is a screenshot. The photo's on my phone. So.
It's a real old post, and
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
a throwback. Yeah, it was a picture of a picture too.
Yep, I could tell too. Even in your cover art, I could tell. I was like, that's awesome. It looks like a photo of a Polaroid.
Yep, that's exactly what it was, or
Nice.
like a Walmart printout. You know what I
Yep.
mean? 2018. Yep.
Nice. See, we got a Jamie over here.
Jamie, Google that for me, Jamie. Appreciate you,
That's
brother.
great. No, honestly,
Shout out Masuda
that's
Khan.
what-
He in the
yeah.
cut.
Hell yeah! Too bad we got like a TV screen
Or like a
shit.
little mirror
yeah, he
right
could
here.
just put it right up on that mug.
Because we got one right there. So if we had a mirror parallel to that screen,
yeah,
it
that'd
would be
sick.
visible. That'd be
That
cool.
would be sick. So, in one of your new singles, Yellow Roses, the main hook talks about you leaving a box of yellow roses at someone's doorstep. Tell them all the things about them that you love about them that they don't know yet. What is the symbology behind the yellow roses for the song itself? He's like, I didn't think about it that much.
Hey,
Or do you not
yo.
want to talk about it?
No, we good. My girlfriend, that's her favorite color, or that's just her favorite rose. That's her favorite flower. So
Okay.
yeah, there was I wouldn't say a rough patch, but there was a time where we weren't on the same page necessarily with everything in life. So it was like metaphorically, like, hey, I'm gonna leave you all your favorite things and tell you all my favorite things about you that you didn't know. And that's just
I fuck with that song.
yeah, that's
That's
just
a good one.
yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I like it. That one's actually the one I need to finagle on RubyCloud Radio.
Sneak it on there.
Well, we just hit 100 songs, and I'm kind of at an impasse because that's around 5 hours of music.
Hey,
And that means if new songs are popping on,
listen.
that means you're kicking somebody's song off, and I don't know how I feel about
Listen,
that.
if you're a NoLove supporter, go to RubyCloud Radio
He
page,
said-
comment in his comments, any post, it doesn't matter, any post, and say put No Love song on the station. And not only that, comment which song you want to hear on there. He's got a couple on there, so make sure it's some of the new stuff.
I like how I provide him with information on how to get on RubyCloud Radio, and he's just like, "Yep, I got this."
Yeah, I'm not gonna
Go
do it
nominate
myself.
my song.
I'm not gonna do it myself, but
And if he already knows it's good, he's gonna put it on there.
if you
and
love
then he
me-
has more work to do because now he's got to figure out a song to kick off.
No,
to
it's
be an
okay.
asshole.
Listen. We'll work our way from the bottom up, but best believe.
Actually, that's a good leeway to talk about how it works. The only thing that I really curate is if it should be there, but it doesn't radically impress me, it does just get added and it ends up at the bottom.
Listen.
But if your song is top 5, it goes number 1. That means every song after gets bumped down.
Right.
If it's top 10, it goes number 10, which means the song in 10th place then drops out. Other than that, there's almost no curating. If I can get more curators involved to look at the top 50 or top 40,
Yeah.
and I focus on the top 10, and you guys can do things like pitch into the top 10.
Let me help
what
you
I
out.
mean?
Let me help you out.
So-
If you're my supporter, go let him know. Go listen to RubyCloud Radio. Let him know what songs I should replace. Just be honest with the man. It's criticism, but it's all love. Go let him know what I should replace. Out of love.
Yeah, I liked you answered a question. You answered my follow-up question after the Yellow Roses question in the midst of answering the Yellow Roses.
Oh, did I?
question.
With the,
Well, I only add certain things. I will include a follow-up question just in case they don't answer it, not necessarily the way I wanted them to.
Right.
But if I don't get the gist of actually what I was trying to ask, so that's why follow-up questions need.
Gotcha.
Learned that from Sean
Shout out.
Evans. Shout out Sean Evans. In your song Journey, you say, follow in your footsteps, but the aroma's gone. I'm going to pause there for a second. That's not what you said?
Follow in your footsteps, but they're almost gone.
They're
almost gone.
Damn, I might have to use the aroma's gone thing, because that's what I thought you said, and that sounded cool.
Yeah.
Because of downwind almost.
Right.
But almost good. That makes sense to like footprints in the sand, right?
Right. Or in the snow. Like they're just getting covered
Again,
up.
I still want to give you credit. I obviously just misheard you. I've only heard the song a couple times.
Right.
But man, no, I felt that.
Yeah.
And I've never heard anybody say something so. Maybe it exists out there, and I just haven't heard it.
Mm-hmm.
But that was really unique, the way you worded it, the way you flowed
I appreciate
into
that.
it, and mixed with like. When I hear a Nicky NoLove song, like it sounds like a Nicky NoLove song. It doesn't sound like everybody else. Like I could probably ask a few questions about potentially who you get inspiration from, just because of
Ask and then you tell me. Since you've heard my music, you tell me, is there any similarity? Go ahead, ask me.
well, I don't even know if you know who this artist is.
What's that?
Devon Terrell. I would say the only other person that I would really think that you remind me of is that guy. And actually, I think it would be really interesting to hear the two of you on a song together.
I'd have to do my research.
He's really good. He does live streams on YouTube too, so if you hop into one of those,
Catch him performing live?
well, he makes beats and he
word.
does everything. This dude's an R&B singer. He's pretty insane, in a good way. I don't listen to a lot of his music, but I respect him as an artist. But other than that, like, it's really hard to pinpoint precisely without knowing you a little bit.
Yeah.
And I don't know any of your musical. We haven't talked about who you enjoy listening to.
I grew up on Rich Homie Quan, R.I.P., Twista, and like a local inspiration, huge inspiration for me to even like take the step into writing music instead of poetry would be my brother, Masuda Khan. Yeah. Yeah. But I would say I sound like none of those people. Twista, Rich Homie, or Masuda Khan.
Yeah.
But those were my
When
inspirations.
I heard him perform, that was like one of my favorite performances that night. 'Cause I'd already heard you perform before and everybody else, but I'd never heard him perform before, and he didn't sound like anybody else.
Oh
I'd
no.
heard.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I think like again, I'm not like a Kendrick Lamar fan per
Right.
se, but I respect what he does because I don't think I've ever heard anybody that sounds like for example, like Squabble Up. I've never heard a song that sounds like that.
Right.
Like maybe you could show me one that
Yeah.
sounds identical, but I'm hard pressed to say that specifically.
Right.
That I've heard one
There
that sounds identical.
There would probably be nothing identicals. Similar.
Right.
There's,
So,
you know.
Can you tell where he derives a lot of his inspiration from? Sure. Like, obviously, very old school foundations of hip hop.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, you can even tell with his subject matter and how he speaks about certain things that he's very old school when it comes to hip hop. But he's also got that fucking crispy new age sound, man.
Right.
So,
engineering is everything. Shout out Dreamy Visions. Shout out Dreamy Visions.
Shout out Dreamy Visions. Tap into the studio. We'll leave his phone number on the screen somewhere.
Yeah, we'll leak the number. Oh, along with the price list. Yesterday's prices is not today's prices.
We live at the same house.
Not today's prices.
We could tap you in with like an email or something. Hey, that's actually not a bad idea. I'll try and put the email on the
Do
screen.
the email. He can at least
Dreamy Vision Inc.
He can at least delete the spam. The number is crazy.
Kalamazoo surrounding area. He is gonna, shout me out $100 for this sponsorship. And the guy he mentioned owes me $100 for the sponsorship on the podcast too. Pretty sure that was you that you were shouting out. So we'll collect afterwards. No.
I still have to figure out what I'm getting for being here. No,
I'm just
saying. Media goes full circle. That shit a bitch. Shout out the editor. Who's editing this video? You?
Oh, probably me. Yeah, I'll have to put in all the work.
Who's paying you? No.
Yeah, exactly. This is why I like being affiliated, because if I bring a certain level, this is why I think like Scrap, for example, likes working with me, because he does short form content.
Yeah.
He makes music and a lot of short form content. He's really good at it.
Right.
I make long form content. So it brings him an avenue, and he can also be affiliated with my long form content and get tons of short form content out of it. So like episode 1 of Day in the Life, I don't know if he ever did, but he could have easily chopped up whatever he wanted from there and used it as tons of content for himself, and I wouldn't have cared.
Yep, and that's what I was saying. So, I was going to say too, you have both of those angles for the video. You can have him, whether it's a day in the life or a performance, have him get his angle for his short form, and you the whole thing.
Yep.
Y'all can both necessarily post the same thing and have different levels of content. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's the cohesion. To some degree, I like getting paid to show up, but I'm not opposed to paying to show up either. Right. So like, look at it this way. Say you hire me to come shoot your show for $50. But there's a $10 cover that night.
Yep.
Well, I already got to invest money in gas, so it is what it is. So, that $50 is already getting eaten into.
Yep.
Just to prove my loyalty to the idea of keeping money in the community.
Yep.
I would pay to attend the show that I also have to shoot at, just because I want to prove credibility. This is another reason why I think people keep calling me or even asking me my opinion on certain things. When Scrap even said basically to myself when he started, like, right to my face, like, multiple times, I almost have zero credibility. It's like, that's fine. I'm willing to pay to play to some regard, whether that be with time, effort, energy. Nobody had a podcast. We now have a podcast.
Everything is an opportunity.
I like that.
Either to grow or to learn. Everything is an opportunity.
Cool. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure that this is still recording.
I'm still kind of.
It reset the measures at a certain point, so we must have went over 1,000. I'm
still kind of blown away. You got like actual file over here.
So, I don't.
No, I like
Actually, you did say it. You did say it to me. I might have edited it out, but I definitely remember hearing you say, maybe it wasn't you, maybe it was somebody else. But I try to bring a certain level of professionalism to anything that I do. Mm-hmm. So if I'm here to shoot, and I am not pitching ideas for the shoot, I'm not doing my job as, to some regard, a director. The person holding the camera or in control of the camera is the director.
Right,
If they're
yeah.
not pitching ideas, for sure. So like with the cipher, it ultimately Scrap's decision what happens. But if me as the camera guy, I'm not pitching ideas, the fuck is he paying me for? To stand
Right.
around and point a camera?
Right. Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. And that's the thing too within our business is everything has its own creative perspective. And you have to kind of align to find the best outcome for real.
Yeah.
So with the cipher, like you were saying, he has to steer his ship, but you have to entice them to follow your lead a little bit to make it better. You know what I'm saying? Because you have the perspective of the actual cameraman. They only have the perspective of the star or the face of the video at the moment.
Right, or the creative control.
Yep.
Yeah. So I like the way you said that because it kind of like led into there are certain things that I don't. It's not that I don't want to do them, but I don't have access to a neat setup for said thing.
Right.
So the mic drop thing, it's already something that I was working on before I met you. Different ideas.
Yep.
And things like that because I came across different things that I liked, and I'm like, well, that would be an interesting avenue.
Yeah.
You know, to work at and promoting other artists, and again, yeah. So us teaming up to do that, you know, whether it's Nicky NoLove
Yep.
presents
Back on the stage again.
back on the stage again, a RubyCloud Entertainment production.
Yep.
So you're the host, you're the guy, and all we are is the production crew.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
And because you're allowing me to put my name on that,
Yeah.
and we are partners, so to speak,
Absolutely.
I'm willing
Absolutely.
to potentially do it for free as long as we're scheduling all of this stuff in advance. You know what I mean?
Because it's an
Technic-
opportunity to grow for both of us.
It's a new avenue of content. So
Absolutely.
like, same with like, say I don't have enough footage to do a solid episode for a day in the life. I'm gonna be reaching out to you guys and figuring out shows, and I'm gonna offer to do that show for free. But if you guys are reaching out to me, for me to come to your shows,
Supply and demand.
right? A good way I look at almost everything is if you provide enough value, that value will end up being provided back to you. You know, so the more things that I can do that add credibility to what RubyCloud Entertainment is,
Yep.
It's not about me.
Right.
I know, again, like I can say things that very clearly sound like I want people to hand me money.
Right. Instead of the business of people you're trying to help out.
Well, that's what I think is going on here. Is I think as an artist, you, Nicky NoLove, you have your own business. He's got Dreamy Vision Inc. I'm not exactly sure what he's technically affiliated with, but he's an artist himself. So he himself is a business unless he's signing to a manager and having somebody do that stuff for him. Same with you.
Yep.
Some people don't want to take that avenue, right? The signing to somebody or giving somebody a major percentage of anything.
And that's the thing too. Everyone's so scared to put in because they're only seeing what's coming out. And until there can be a level of growth, like we've been reiterating.
How much? I like that. How much have you invested in your own music, and what you as we'll call you No Love Productions
Over time, it's kind of like
in the last year, 12 months?
okay. In the last 12 months, roughly like 4K.
4K.
Yeah.
So I would say that on average yearly, that is a pretty good one for you, and even leveling that up by compiling that money with other artists that are doing exactly what you're doing. And again, like when you're creating that community, like you can see the level of support. Like for a good example is, I think that Nick, if he thinks that you have the best project of the month, he's not going to be butthurt if we choose to get you the famous person feature for the month.
Right.
You know?
Right.
because it's hard for No Love to make $4,000 in a month and justify spending $4,000
Oh,
on a single
absolutely.
feature.
Absolutely.
But if No Love is invested in RCE along with everybody else who's pitching projects up and actually working for the company, and the $100 investment is you are paying to work for us.
Right.
You have to work. You have to pitch ideas. If you don't want to work, you could at least be a promoter.
Yeah.
Go sell some T-shirts. Otherwise, what are you paying me $100 for? We kind of were talking about this when we took our little break.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to, you're paying for the affiliation, and hopefully, if you put in enough effort, that will immediately trickle down. Like I said, me, you, and the first 10 board members could be invested for 2 years, and you never actually pitched a project that everybody voted on.
Right.
But the guy that just fucking signed up, for whatever fucking reason, he's got a banger fucking project.
Yeah.
And we're like, I'm unbiased, man. We
Yeah.
could be the best of fucking friends in the world, and I've eaten potatoes off your feet or some shit. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to be like, hey, you're my homie. You got a better project than this dude who's clearly got a better project than you.
Right.
You know, that's why I think the
Well, I think anyone who wants to venture into what you're doing or be a part or an affiliate of what you're doing, they have to have some sort of ground. They have to have some sort of platform or structure already established, because otherwise they're going to try to rely on you for more things than
that's why at a certain point, if they're not pitching anything, they're just paying us $100 a month for nothing.
right.
And you see what I mean?
Yeah, but then
Like,
that's when it becomes a negative narrative that can be spun. You know what I'm saying?
I don't care what other people think.
Respect.
You think I care what the guy who just joined, who all of a sudden starts complaining, oh, I gave these guys $100 and they didn't make me famous. It's like, no one's going to think that that is credible at all.
Right.
And if you do, and you're on the board, and I'm going to be like looking at you like, fuck, maybe we need to replace this guy. He thinks that this dude deserves compassion.
Yeah.
And he's being a dick and lying on us.
Yeah, that's real.
You know what I mean? This is the
Solid.
reason why it's a $100 ticket to play as an artist. If you're just buying in for $9 a month, you're a fan.
Well, and that's also why
We'll give you signed albums when
Yeah.
we release them for $9 a month.
Well, that's what I'm saying. As an artist, though, I think it's important to have something going for yourself already.
Exactly.
That's
Here's
why I
the
said
thing.
that. That's
if
why I
you're
said
not willing to invest $25 a week to play with somebody who's already built some semblance of a network and potentially has skills that they can offer you for that $100,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, for $100, they know him, and they might not even know him yet. But for $100, they might not have a studio, but now all of a sudden they have access to a studio and potentially a guy who's going to give them a ride.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, I look at RubyCloud Entertainment as a full-on, I work for anybody who is paying me money.
Right.
If that's 1,000 people,
Yeah.
like, I think a lot of people have the CEO narrative twisted. CEOs think that people work for them. That is not true. When you're the CEO, you work for 1,000 plus people. Your job should be to provide the best environment for everybody who works under you.
Okay. Yeah.
Because if you don't,
Logistics.
they're not gonna stay. Not to mention, if I'm being a dick to Nicky NoLove on the board, and he's going and complaining to all the lower people, that's not setting a good morale for the whole company, for that matter.
Everyone's gonna be on guard.
Exactly. And I want people to be off guard so much that they're on guard all the time.
Yeah.
So
A level of comfortability, not complacency.
comfortability, accountability, and just work ethic, man. You again, like, inevitably, if we can make the company profitable, all investors will get their money back.
Right. Yeah.
Not to mention, here's another thing. You being affiliated with us, what if we make one of your songs go viral because we built this major network? I'm not asking for any of that money.
Right.
I'm not asking for your music. That's what a fucking record label does.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I
Right.
don't want that fucking level of response. I don't want to own anybody's art. I want to help people produce art. And this is the reason why RubyCloud Radio is a non-profit of RubyCloud Entertainment. Because if we can get 1 million fucking listeners there, and then somebody joins RubyCloud Entertainment's affiliate program for $100 a month or whatever we decide to call it,
Yeah.
they immediately joining and they're pitching ideas to the review team. Well, that could change their life for $100 a month.
Yeah. This is why I think PR is important though.
Yeah.
Because without some sort of in between communication, everyone's gonna just assume something shady's going on.
Then they will get their $100 back and they will go work somewhere else.
Right.
You know, this
Yeah.
is this isn't a game to me overall.
Right.
And if I feel like people aren't treating it professionally,
Yeah, absolutely.
and here's the thing, I don't do well with gaslighting at all,
Yeah.
and I will call somebody out for lying.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
And if I think that you're going to be a problem, I will give you your money back, and I just won't affiliate with you. I'm not going to tell Nicky NoLove that he can't affiliate with you.
You're right.
But
right.
like, there's already
Just
been since
from-
I've been back. There's already been instances of people that I won't work directly with,
Yeah.
unless somebody else is working with that person, and now that's why I'm working with them.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Yep, that's exactly
So,
what I was kind of getting
I
at.
am pretty unbiased, but I'm not going to let somebody else damage my
Credibility.
reputation or credibility. And here's the thing: if I build a level of credibility with you and a guy who just came in, yeah, you may know him
Right.
or whatever, but you know my credibility and my integrity, and then all of a sudden you're questioning me just because you have history with this guy. I'm going to be questioning you. Are you a proper investor for the company?
Right.
You know what I mean? So it really is a good vetting process, and this is another reason why I want people who are willing to invest in.
And that's important too. That's
Yeah.
important too. Finding your direct audience, your clientele, your
Yeah.
people who are understanding and willing to jump on that. You know what I'm saying? I just think that's important because, you know, as an independent business like what you're starting, there's going to be a lot of naysayers. Just like with the artists, when we do shows in a new place, there's a lot of naysayers. Like,
You know how to get do you know how to get $1 million?
how's that?
Do you know how?
No.
Oh, I do.
Right. How's
Yeah.
that?
There's multiple avenues. If you can prove that you have investor capital,
Mhm.
you can get a business loan to launch $1 million business like that.
Right.
Yeah. So imagine we can talk 1,000 people into actually investing into RubyCloud Entertainment, and we prove that we have $100,000 capital
Yeah.
to launch the business. We take that $100,000 to a bank. We open an investment capital fund. We put the $100,000 in there,
Yep.
and then they will match a certain amount, usually a massive percentage.
Right.
Especially if you have a business model that proves profitability.
Right. That's why I'm just saying priority one is
Yeah.
finding that 1,000 people, because out here, especially for all of us, it's been that. The population out here is what, 8 something in just this little town, and 400 of them will comment that they hate this place, but you've never seen them in here. You know what I'm saying? It's just people who will hate from the outside that'll make it look like what you're doing is worse than what is actually happening.
Yeah, so I don't really pay attention to bitter, resentful people.
Absolutely.
And you can tell the moment somebody opens their mouth.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
I'll suss it out real quick.
Or when it's just like animosity immediately.
Yeah, if I present an idea and the way you respond is inherently negative, not like confrontational, because I'm okay with confrontation.
Right.
I'm okay with conflict between ideas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's how you learn. The
Right.
best way to learn in a school is asking questions to the teacher, especially if the teacher's already wrong.
Yep.
And you know the right answer.
Right.
So that's a great way to make the teacher look stupid.
Yeah.
And it like changes the hierarchy of status in the classroom when the class clown can prove the fucking teacher wrong.
Right.
So that's why scenarios like that are actually really big learning moments, and you take a scenario like that and actually prove it.
And that's pretty much what's happened naturally. Is it's turned around and everyone has seen, okay, it's not the negative image that's been painted over social media.
Yeah, social media is an odd place because
Talk about it.
everybody has an opinion, but most people's opinions aren't worth the dog shit that people don't pick up in my backyard.
Well,
And I keep stepping it.
I understand criticism and I understand like journalism, but what I don't understand is the haters who aren't involved at all, just from the outside looking in, hating just to voice their opinion.
Yeah,
which is the beauty of freedom of speech.
That saying, I think I first came across the saying when NF said it in a song, which is when you signed up to do music, you pretty much signed up to be hated. And his lyric is, it's funny because I don't remember signing my name up. Well, it's high school economics, right? It's pretty basic. If in high school, 9 out of every 10 people liked you.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, like that was a pretty good average.
Yeah,
but only 1 out of every 10 genuinely liked you. Some of those 9 were just more like
they favored you.
Yeah, and what's even funnier is number 10 and 9 there were probably talking shit about you behind your back, but they'd niceties to your face because most of the time people weren't trying to start shit in high school. Right. Most of the time. Right. You know, occasionally you got those hard asses, this, that, and the other thing, but for the most part, high school economics is 1 best friend to every 9 acquaintances. And then the 9 and 10th place in that acquaintance thing is probably people who don't like you. Well, if you apply that to the entire world,
right, on a broad scale, all right, now you're in a high school full of billions of people. Are 1 out of every 10 people is genuinely gonna like you, right?
But that also means 9 out of every 10 are gonna be playing high school economics, and they're gonna like you for whatever surface level arbitrary reason that they have in their mind.
And that's what I spoke on earlier is people jumping on after. And once they see, okay, these 2 or 3 people really like you and they're super supportive, they're showing your stuff every day, they feel like there's something they're missing. Why am I not already as hype about this person as they are? What am I not seeing that they see? Hold on, let me jump on. And that's usually what happens too with music when, say, just the people in this room, us 4, every time you hear us have the auxiliary cord, we're playing these 5 songs. Everyone who's around us is going to be like, why do they only listen to those 5 songs? And start jumping on, like, they're going to add those 5 songs to their playlist. And,
Yeah,
it's just
kind of like a sly promo type scenario.
Right.
And like a trickle down that where you're talking about.
Like those 9 out of the 10 people, they only like you for those, like you said, arbitrary reasons. Well, that's it.
Like or dislike.
Right,
Usually
like or
it's all
dislike.
Arbitrary.
Yeah.
Like 1 out of every 10 people genuinely knows you as a person, or actually wants to get to know you. As a person.
And those people around them will base their like or dislike sometimes off of how passionately that person likes or dislikes you.
Right. Yeah. I also think that, again, this is why I like to. I've been actually really working on the theory of the world actually works on high school economics, and just recently I came up with the 9th and 10th place are most likely people who are nice if you meet them in person,
right?
But would also be the same types of people talking shit about you behind your back or online.
Yep.
Right. But the first 1 is genuinely gonna like you. Just because you did something that they liked, or like for you, for example, with me, a particular lyric that you said resonated with me.
Right.
So I like your music. To be honest, you could slap my mom and I'd probably still like your music for the most part. Especially if my mom is just like, hey, Nicky NoLove slapped me, and I'd be like, what, on the ass?
Shit, what? You trying to get me killed out here, man.
So, no, I was just trying to talk some shit. Lighten the mood. We got a little deep there.
It gets like that too when it comes to business and it's something that we're passionate about. Yeah. It gets low like that because we're putting actual thought process behind these conversations, and we're not necessarily disagreeing on anything. We're just mapping out possibilities.
Jordan Peterson did a really big number on me when it comes to the idea of, first of all, recording conversations to revisit them later.
Right.
Because in the midst of a conversation, you may be formulating thoughts as you're listening to somebody, and you may not necessarily fully grasp exactly what they're saying. So there is actually a conversational skill of slightly repeating what somebody said to you
Yep.
before following up with your thought. I think we were kind of talking about that a little bit earlier.
Yep.
He says that when you're engaged in a conversation that's causing you to actually think, what you're doing is thinking.
Yeah.
You know, so you say something to that person to hear what they think, and then you formulate thoughts, and then what'll happen is, like you said earlier during the break, you get up in this flow state where you're kind of just bouncing thoughts back and forth.
Yep.
And the conversation's just...
Well, and also, like you said, with chess, like that's how it is. We're just mapping out all the pieces, and we're running through the game.
Right.
Through this conversation, like, but it's not me versus you. It's like us versus the outside.
We'll edit that out.
Edit that out. He tried to bottle flip, guys.
So what's even crazier is we talked about that spot in the Journey song.
See a ghost?
And then we went on like a 30-minute tangent.
See. Oh yeah.
We did.
Following
So
your footsteps.
let's circle back to that, and then
Following
we
your
can
footsteps.
probably find a... This is actually really good because we've really let the conversation flow, because this is the personal questions I made for you, right?
Yep.
These are just standardized questions, and we haven't had to touch them. So that means conversations just flowed to a certain extent to where I haven't needed to...
Jump to the
I
defaults.
put this one on top, and the conversations have almost steered to where I can just pull one of these personal ones out. So in your song Journey, you say follow in your footsteps, but they're almost gone.
Yep.
Who is the person you lost or is no longer around anymore?
So it's a train of footsteps.
Okay.
So I look up to my father probably more than anyone in the world. It's not like an idolization, but it's like a representation of what it's supposed to be almost. Right. And inherently, he looked up to his father. So it's a train of footsteps. I lost my grandfather. My father is following in his footsteps, and I'm following in my father's. So the train of footsteps are almost gone. It's dwindled to two. So that's the...
So it's almost like... Wow, that's deep, bro.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. For such a few words, like for a very specific line, and I'm pretty sure that it like was built up to. It's just that part specifically stood out to me, and I wanted to point that out. So the the footsteps, they're almost gone. What is that?
That's the trail that he left. So my father's tracking his, I'm tracking my father's. We're following in your footsteps, but they're almost gone. So the snow is covering them, the sand is blowing them away. However you see the footsteps in your head.
So kind of like
the footsteps
are you falling behind or are they dying?
My grandfather's gone.
Right. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
So there's no like catching up or keeping up. We're running out of footsteps. We're running out of guidance, and we're running out of things to go off of, basically.
It's almost like in some way, like we're here, appreciate things kind of like while you have them, because you don't know how long they're going to be there for. The footsteps are almost gone. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's the thing, too. The way I perceive the following in someone's footsteps is like the guidance they were able to give. There's still guidance we didn't receive yet, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like conversations we didn't have. So there's the footsteps are gone. We're running out of new stuff from them. You know what I mean?
That's interesting. You say that. I had a conversation with a buddy of mine a little while ago. He said the same thing about his dad. didn't get enough time with him and whatnot because I think he had a heart attack
Right.
unexpectedly.
You
It was
don't
just
you don't
wrong.
think about the conversations that are needed because you can have them at any point when someone's alive. But once they're gone, you think of all the things that you didn't say. So there's that guidance through those footsteps. We've caught up. You know what I mean? We've caught up. We've soaked up all the guidance he gave, and there's no more conversations basically.
I know what you mean. I don't personally understand that, but again, maybe that's my way of dealing with loss and how my brain works.
Right. You can always recycle the guidance that was given. It's impactful guidance. But
No, I agree. What I'm saying is I agree with everything you're saying.
Right.
I've just never personally had that.
mm,
So, I've never cried at a funeral that I attended for myself, if that makes sense. I believe that as a man at a funeral, you're meant to compose yourself in such a way to where you're strong for the people who are already crying.
right.
And that was ingrained in me at such a young age when I lost my grandfather. And when I think back on that, like, I don't know if I'm like almost I wouldn't say resentful towards my family because when I was like 6 or 7 when my grandfather passed. And I remember
that's
being
super
at
young.
when I was at the funeral home, all of us kids were just playing.
Right. Not understanding the morality of the situation.
Right. Well, I mean, I did, but it was almost like nobody wanted us to understand more than like, hey, go play. It was
Right.
almost a detachment for the children instead of allowing them to process that on their own, which I think actually don't think is a big thing as much these days anymore.
Right.
With any of the funerals that I've attended, it seemed like there was no like playing going on whatsoever.
Most of my relatives were cremated, so there was like the memorial service was more of a celebration of life. So there was no real mourning, except for the most recent one, my grandfather. That one hit everybody different.
Right, yeah. Was he a glue?
Yeah, and he was just what was the word? The patriarch.
Yeah. Yeah, he held everything together. He was
Yeah.
like he was the tip, and once the fucking tip of the spear got broke off, what do you got, a stick?
Yeah, I mean, that was the reason for everybody to get together on that side. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
a few years ago, same thing happened with my grandma, and yeah, I process death differently, I think. But again, like you said, you follow in people's footsteps that you admire because you knew them personally.
right,
I didn't have that.
right.
It's I am just now at my age finding people that understand how my brain works.
And that's important too.
I have a father figure in my life that I've never even met.
Got to find your tribe.
Right, exactly.
That's how it is.
The people that I relate to the most are guys like you, Nick, people who express themselves in ways that I was never able to fully explain until I started making music.
Bingo. That's it.
So,
You know, when I was growing up and I had like bad anger issues or issues focusing, I would write. I would write poetry and stuff like that, and that would be my outlet.
Dr. Seuss that shit.
I would go to a therapist to talk about my anger issues or my issues focusing, and I would tell them everything is fine because in my perspective, everything is fine. They couldn't see anything wrong with me, but everything for me just needed to be outletted through music or poetry.
Thinking back on it now, if you're 100% honest with yourself, was everything fine, or were people reading your lyrics and being like, this is questionable?
Well,
Like were you doing things that could be perceived as a cry for help from other people?
no.
No.
I as a kid, I was just
What was the therapy for?
I was like an aggressive kid. I was mean,
So
but
technically,
was
you were doing things that were being perceived as a cry for help, but you personally didn't look at it that way.
well, as a kid, I was less pardon me while I think
No, go ahead, process it.
I was less open to bullshit, just to be blunt. So as a kid, I wasn't doing as much kid stuff. People would play these childish or corny games, and I wouldn't.
Do you have something that people have diagnosed you with?
No.
No.
Nope.
I bet if you went in to the doctors and got studied for over a year, they'd probably diagnose you with like ADD or ADHD.
Oh yeah, for sure. Probably.
I don't think that the disease actually exists. I think it's a way to, exactly like you said, people didn't understand your thought process, and you're probably operating like, just for a metaphorical sense instead of getting extremely scientific.
Right.
In a metaphorical sense, they're not operating on the same frequency as you. So usually what they
Exactly
do to kids
that.
like that is they diagnose them with behavioral problems. And it's like, no, I'm just smarter than most of the people that are telling me what to do.
Well, that and a lot of the stuff I just deemed as corny or
Well,
like.
that's what I'm saying. You're like, what's the point?
Right.
By-
I saw
by
no purpose
smarter
in
than
it
the
or no
people
progression.
teaching you, I wasn't meaning like you're a genius and you
Right.
read a book and all of a
Gotcha,
sudden you
gotcha.
can build a rocket ship. I'm talking about like you didn't understand the point of what was being taught to you because it didn't interest you.
Yeah.
I also have like a major theory when it comes to that once you hit 5th grade, everything after 5th grade is unnecessary knowledge unless you absolutely have an interest in it.
Right.
Except for history. You should learn from history. I think that depending on what the history is, you need to learn about it and be informed of history.
I think history should be the highest funded subject in school because I feel like we should go to these places in these books and learn from the locals.
Well, you should kind of like circling back to what you were saying earlier. Basically, like when you like watch people and the people you admire, you seem to learn from the things that they potentially did wrong.
Right.
Like why commit a mistake that you know somebody else did and you already know it's a mistake?
Unless
to do so.
Right, unless you have a clear avenue in said mistake someone made, like
You got a fair example that would be positive? Exactly.
right, yeah.
So you're still leaning towards it's a bad decision, and if you're making a bad decision, it's still a mistake. I mean, you can sugarcoat it with
Right, yep.
okay, maybe maybe the juice is worth the squeeze, but a bad decision is still a bad decision. So like, look at it this way, right? Let's say I talk 100,000 artists into attending the very first large-scale investor dinner,
Right.
the major proof of concept.
Yeah.
Like, I'm bringing $100,000 cash to open and show everybody, like, this is what we did.
Yeah. Right.
You know, a bad decision there would be I let somebody talk me into investing it all in the crypto market because we could double it real quick.
Right. Pump and dump.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, could we potentially make a lot of money if we hire the right guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're also going to make that money off of the backs of
It's
a bunch of
overall
people
bad
who are
investment.
idiots.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's another reason why I don't gamble. I would rather gamble through sports. For example, RubyCloud Entertainment Basketball League.
Yep.
I'll sponsor a whole ass team with $1,000. But if you're not putting in money and all you're doing is playing, you're only getting a certain percentage.
Damn. We're
So
trying to see where my brother went. I'm trying to get him in on the league, man.
yeah, no, it's a neat idea to earn. I want it to at most last 4 days. If we can crunch it down into 1 day, dude.
Like a tournament?
A tournament in 1 day, 32 teams. If you win every single game, you're looking at probably making like $15,000 in a single day.
Listen.
Right.
32 teams?
Hey,
where we
bruh,
would have to.
tell me I can't come up with ways to make people money. You know how much money I'm going to make off of doing this? Nothing. Unless maybe I sell t-shirts.
Right.
Maybe because you're part of the league, I say your t-shirt, or if you make jerseys, you got to put RCE on it.
That would be fun too.
I don't want a
I could order
percentage
some
of your
jerseys.
sales. You just have to put our logo on it.
Hey, hit me up in the DM if you want to be on Team No Love, man.
Yeah. No, I honestly, I would like different people to create a full-on team themselves.
Michiana boys got to be a team.
Well, I was thinking even like for him, he could Dreamy Vision Inc. and then Michiana boys could be their own team.
Well, scrap
He's like, I'm talking about creating a
Michiana-
healthy competition.
Michiana boys.
You know,
Michiana
to
boys got more
generate
than
money.
5 though.
Well,
So you would have to do your own.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it could be interesting.
All the no love fans.
You know.
I need to build this team. I'm the point guard, but I'm focused on passing. So I need
Yeah.
some shooters over here.
Yeah, the idea is 6 people. That's all you need. 1 coach, but the coach can also double up as a backup player. If the coach isn't doubling as a backup player, you need 7.
I'll be the coach. So I need 5 big ones. I need 3 over 6'4".
Hey, the only requirements is 16 plus and parental. If you're 16, you have to have a parent sign a waiver.
My requirements are different. You gotta be 21 and up, and you gotta
fair
be
enough. He can create his own requirements.
6'4".
6'4". He's trying to create the winning team. He's trying to. Hey,
You ever seen
There's
Space
no-
Jam?
hey, this is a first come first serve. You build the best team that just mollywops everybody. I guess you're the guy walking home with 15 grand.
Hey, Monstars, if you hear me, we leaving with that 15.
Well, I appreciate you. Go ahead and look at either of the cameras. I don't think you really tell any of the people that may see this again who you are and anything that you may have coming up or something that you want them to check out. Just go ahead and plug some shit for yourself.
NICKY. No love is one word. NOLOVE. All platforms. Check out my latest release. It's called Journey. It's on all platforms, like I said, man. And I got a raffle going on Facebook under the Real Nicky NoLove Facebook page. I'm giving away $200. All you have to do is like, comment, and share. That easy.
I need to go win this $200 so I can take that as proof of concept for his investment.
See, this is worldwide, baby.
I'm just gonna snag his investment. Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it.